My name is Jacqueline Macaulay. I'm a nurse and a midwife. I spent 2 years in Ethiopia working with voluntary service overseas, having taken a career break from Royal Jubilee Maternity Hospital in Belfast. In Ethiopia, I was based in 3 regions. The first for the year was in Gondar, which is in the northwest of the country. The second was in the northeast of the country in Afar, which is a semi-desert arid region with lots of nomad pastoralists. And then the final 4 months was in Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia. And I was working in the first 2 as primarily a midwife. So I was supervising and teaching students clinically, but that also then entailed supporting the professional qualified staff to also scale up their skills and abilities. Being a volunteer in Ethiopia, you go through the gamut of emotions. From excitement and sort of nervous anticipation when you get there to real lows, being away from friends and family and everything that you know and that's comfortable to you. The challenges encountered working in some of the hospitals included not having enough water or having no running water and being reliant upon jerry cans, and not having electricity, so the staff at night would be working by light of a candle often. There was massive overcrowding, certainly in Gondar Hospital. Often there would be 3 women sharing a bed and their babies, if they had babies. Women would be on the floor in mattresses as well. There was 24 beds in that hospital and it served a population of 5 to 10 million people in that region. So massive overcrowding and under-resourcing. I think for me, the personal challenge was living in the desert. It did sort of push me to the edge of what I was comfortable with. So I lived in the local community in a 1-roomed house. We didn't have running water. We went to a standpipe, but in the dry season, you're reliant upon water trucks coming into the area, and you take your jerry cans and you fill them up. And if the water truck doesn't come, you don't have any water. And the fear of not having water, and it's 50 degrees during the day, and what are you going to do if you've nothing to drink, was just a constant fear that was always in the back of my mind, and I found that very difficult to deal with. Professionally, the biggest challenge was watching mums and babies die. In Ireland, I'd never seen a woman die in childbirth. It's an unusual event here. It has become unusual, but there it was weekly. And knowing that if she'd been born in Ireland, she would have lived, and her baby would have lived. But there, they just die because they just don't have the right access to care at the right time, and the right number of people caring for them. Really difficult. We introduced the WHO Safer Surgical Checklist. I think about a week later, one of the health officers just sort of came running up and gave me a hug, which is quite un-Ethiopian, particularly for a male and a female, and said, "Sister, they are living." And I went, "What is living?" And he said, "The children," because it was a burns unit, so lots of babies and children that had just paraffin burners that were used in the kitchen blowing up or whatever. So lots of burns from them, and then from road traffic accidents. Because they were giving antibiotics before surgery was occurring, they were reducing the rate and the incidence of infection post-operatively. So the same numbers of people were not dying, and that's what he was telling me and was so excited about. There's lots of moments that bring great joy, but for me it was the light bulb moments for students and staff whenever what you've been trying to teach them and to show them just came together and made sense. The things that I was introducing to them were things that reduced the number of mums and babies dying. When students had those light bulb moments, they're going to know and remember why we're using it and how to use it and what to do. And that means that long after I'm gone, they're still going to be saving lives of mums and babies that come throughout the rest of their career, and hopefully the career of students that they then teach and work alongside. One funny story that I was sort of summed up my time in Ethiopia was my first week on placement in Gondar, so my third week in the country. I was walking along to the hospital and to maternity ward in my white gown, which was compulsory to wear, when a bajaj is like an Indian tuk-tuk, and the bajaj driver screamed and stopped and gesticulated to me to come and look, get in. And as I pulled back the curtain, I could see a woman quite clearly in the full throes of labour. So having asked for gloves, lifted up her dress and saw pretty much a baby's head almost there, and through mime and just trying to get her to push, we just had a baby in a bajaj, which was fine. And then afterwards we drove on to the actual ward where she proceeded to have her afterbirth delivered in the hospital. So this necklace was actually made by HIV positive women in Addis, and the material is old gun bullets from guns and bits and pieces of mortar that they just melt down and reshape. The thing that I miss the most about living in Ethiopia is the time that I had to spend with people. Our lives are so busy here, we just don't have the same amount of time. Professionally, I have learned a huge amount from my Ethiopian colleagues and friends. And personally, you just grow so much as a person. You learn to experience where your limits lie and what you can cope with and what you're able to manage through. And it is just amazing. It really is just amazing.